Fastbrick Robotics is building the first layer of this single-family home in Fort Myers, Florida. And they've got the Hadrian X system, which, as we discussed, is being loaded with these traditional cinder blocks that have been partially routed. This building is going to look like any other CMU building once the robot completes the job, but Fastbrick has re-envisioned the way the bricks are laid. Instead of having to manually bend over, pick up every block, it's really back-breaking labor. The system is picking up the blocks, doing the heavy lifting, and people are doing the fine-tuning and finessing to make sure it all comes together in a high-quality finish.
When I zoom in a second here, look at the adhesive still dripping. This replaces the traditional mortar. We'll talk more about that later.
There's a bunch of sway on any kind of boom system like this, especially considering it's like 70 feet long. And so what they do is set up these laser systems that identify the XYZ three-dimensional coordinates of the extrusion. So they have an as-is understanding of the distance from the slab, also the last line. This allows them to place with as much precision as possible. You can see these blocks are quite close. When they were first doing the calibration testing, a couple of them were even touching each other, and now that they got everything calibrated, it's going much smoother. You can see it kind of comes in down and then makes a little bit of a angle into the other block. Really awesome to watch this thing go. And they mentioned just a few gallons of the adhesive is all it takes to do the entire build. The first stem wall was laid by hand, and then from here on out, every block would be placed by Hadrian system. Look how straight that wall is, incredible.
Hi, I'm Dan McCrill. I'm Director of Business Development here at FBR. We completed the second one yesterday, and we set up on the third location here in Fort Myers, Florida. So again, I'm new to Florida, so the hurricane's going to be very, very educational for myself. And we're excited to see what happens and see how our walls withstand the hurricane moving forward.
It's a little late to ask, but I guess it's waterproof.
Yes, 100% waterproof. It's the adhesive actually likes the moisture in the air, so it's the humidity in the air actually helps it to cure a little bit faster. So it works well for this climate where we are right now.
Yeah, hi, I'm Mark Pivac, CTO at FBR or Fastbrick Robotics. I'm standing here in Lehigh Acres in front of Hadrian X, and we're out here building our third USA house. We did the first one a few weeks ago. We finished the second one yesterday. We took 2 days to build that one, and all going well, we'll be out of here either today or tomorrow, pending what's going on with the hurricane, of course, which is off the coast, so we're keeping an eye on that. I'll just bring you over to Hadrian X itself. As you can see, it's truck mounted. So we have outriggers at the front here to stabilise the machine. We also have outriggers at the back. We drove onto this site. This particular Hadrian is registered, not registered in the USA. It's an Australian truck, so we actually have to lowboy it around. But in future, we'll be building them on USA trucks, and they'll be able to drive to site themselves.
Already adapted them, obviously, to USA blocks.
Yeah, exactly. So the blocks here are quite similar to what we use in Australia, and our mantra really has been to change as little as possible.
Nice.
So some of the things which are different, we actually glue the blocks together. So today you'll see a structural adhesive being used in place of traditional cement-based mortars. We do that because it's very fast and it's also clean, and it's much easier for us to work with structural adhesives than mortar. There's also a good strength improvement. The adhesive's about twice as strong as mortar, and it also sets up very quickly. So within about 45 minutes, it's quite structurally good. The way it works is we actually load packs of bricks straight into the back of Hadrian. So we use a conventional telehandler, which we're just hiring out here. So that just picks up entire packs of bricks, and we load them into the back of Hadrian. We can actually take 4 different types of blocks in there. This particular build only uses 2 types. So we've got the full Besser blocks and half Besser blocks in this particular build. And then towards the end of the build, you'll see that we use bond beam blocks on the top course. So then we load in packs of bond beam blocks and they get placed as well.
I don't see your laser guided gyroscope on the top of the system.
Yeah, so over here, sitting on top of that pack of bricks there, we have a laser tracker, and that looks out at our laying head. I can show you that a little bit closer later on.
If you're a channel subscriber, you know I've been traveling around to the most cutting-edge construction project for a long time now, and this is unlike anything I've ever seen before. When I first became interested in construction automation, I did some research online and was super disappointed to find out that all the big media network journalists got it completely wrong. So I took it upon myself to go in person and gather primary sources of the equipment in action and founders talking about their own technology. Fastbrick Robotics made my job easy, not only with incredible engineering, but also transparency. There was no part of the job that day they didn't let me film. I think the effort to automate construction is the most important thing in the world. It's the best way to uplift the standard of living globally. More people will be more comfortable raising families and just have more security overall if it's easier for them to afford a home. I've hosted over 70 founders on the Automate Construction podcast. You can listen to that at the link. The episode I did with Fastbrick CEO Mike Pivac is the most listened to of all time. You should definitely check it out for yourself. Here's a 60-second time-lapse of the whole print day. They start with a calibration test in each corner. My cameras only have 2 hours battery life, so I had to switch them a couple times. Then they go to the first row. There's no dry layer test, so once the corners are calibrated, they're pretty much good to go. You can see there's still a bunch of people on the job site. Granted, in this case, they're training up a crew, so they could operate with half as many people, but they still require people to do some of the fine-tuning. Instead of the heavy lifting, back-breaking work that ends up with people taking retirement at 60 or even before that in some cases, these guys are able to save their backs and use their brains to make sure the project goes well. It's incredible they were able to print through some of the rain. When thunder starts, they have to stop. But rain was not a showstopper. You'll see at the end of the video, it was really coming down. Almost torrential downpour, and they were still laying the last few blocks before stopping for the day. They did get through about 2/3 of the house, so it's not hard to imagine it's possible they could do this in one day.
So Dan, we're here. This is the first build you did or the second?
This is the second build.
Sweet.
First one for the week, but second build in total.
And you would never know unless you were here with me to tell me.
No, exactly right. As you can see from the finish, there's a few giveaways that you kind of can identify once you've kind of understand how our build method works, and it's probably more the mortar join in between the bricks. As you can see, we've got contact on contact. It's we use a thin bed mortar or an adhesive, and that's kind of the only real difference that we have in comparison to standard builds.
You use a telehandler to replace?
Yeah. So instead of the guys busting their backs or trying to lift everything into place or having to get a crane for the larger ones, the telehandler that we use on site to load the blocks, we use the same piece of machinery to go around and place all the lintels in.
And this stem wall was poured.
So this isn't a stem wall, this one. This one's just a everyday slab. Okay. So as you can see, the dirt is piled up around the outside. Again, I'm still trying to understand the rules and regs for Florida, as I'm from Australia, of course. But from what I understand, the house has to be the same height as the road or a little bit higher. Hence why there's so much dirt and the slab sitting above the road level.
Smart.
Yeah.
Let's take a look inside.
Yeah, go for it. They come through.
So how often, it's not a full backfill, it's a partial backfill in some of the cells?
Yes. So they're filling the cores. So we're doing it in a way that instead of having a what do we call the rebar, the starter bar coming up through the concrete, where we've pre-drilled everything already. That's what the little blue dots kind of identify which blocks have been drilled. And then we do the knockout, same as traditional. And then we epoxy the rebar from the top all the way to the bottom into the slab. And we've got that signed off and meets approval for the local counties.
Nice. That corner looks kind of interesting with staggered blocks. I haven't been in a ton of block buildings. Is that normal?
Yeah. Again, this one, because we're doing the demonstration program, this house was already approved. So the approval process was already in place, and then we've kind of tried to adapt to the best way that we can for the build. So instead of having to go through the entire build process, we've just kind of adapted the best we can to make it fit within what was already approved. So it proves that if a house is already approved out there, we have the capability or the know-how to actually go and build that house and keep on the schedule that everyone's looking for. So the reason that we do have the cut blocks in there is, as you can imagine, we've got the ends of our blocks touching one another. Traditionally, there'd be a mortar joint in that head joint. Once you kind of eliminate all the head joints against the blocks, we're using standard blocks at the moment, so we've had to make it work the best we can. So, it just proves that we could actually fit into any build method wherever we go. The way that we're building here is, we've got one single monolithic wall around the entire house, where in Australia we have two. So we've got double the amount of blocks. But we're learning. We're definitely taking everything in, and we appreciate being here, and it's a great experience.
Anybody who's done construction knows the slabs are always an inch or two off, and it's almost impossible to get them perfectly straight. If it is, it's so expensive. How do you guys handle that?
Yeah, in the first instance, we try to work as closely as possible as we can with the concreters, because they've never had to deliver a slab with the tolerances that we're looking for. If you have a look around, of course, this slab isn't perfect, but the guys who we're working with are very, very ambitious and trying to get what we need, and we're really happy that they're trying to do that. What kind of happens is, because we don't have a 10 mil mortar joint, or because we're contact on contact, as to say, what happens is, as the wall kind of builds itself up, we kind of get those imperfections where one side will start to kick up a little bit higher than the other. So we've created what we call a bridge block. It just kind of helps us kind of bridge over those and then kind of iron out or get the level on the next course to really help us keep everything as level as possible.
So a regular bricklayer would use that extra mortar gap to adjust the pitch, and since you guys don't have that, you were able to cut that.
Correct. Agree. And, when you kind of go back and, we're talking, our machine works within millimeters. That's the difference we're talking. When you start to look at the blocks and how they're manufactured, when you really get down to the detail of a block itself, no block is ever the same size. So, traditionally the mortar has always helped you kind of iron out that level or keep that level as you go up, as opposed to, we've got a contact on contact adhesive joint. It's kind of, we've got to do what we can do, and that's how we kind of eliminate some of the problems that we have on the concrete slab.
Sweet.
Every build that we kind of do has something different. And on this one, they've decided to put a thing you can see at the end there. They've got 2 courses of bond beam blocks. The one that we're doing at the moment has 1 course of bond beam blocks. It's kind of, we're not looking to change the way the building method is. We're adapting to the engineering specifications. We're not saying that we have to do it a certain way. We're taking the way that they do it, and we're taking our machine out to the field and constructing the way that they always have in the last 1,000 years here in Florida.
So do you think we'll see an evolution from you matching them at that point, and then we're in a weird mud skipper phase, and then we eventually are walking on land?
I think we're at that point. I think we're in the beginning of that. So yeah, it's exciting times. I think we're definitely there. There's definitely an evolution happening right now.
Yeah, it's awesome. Very exciting. Thanks for letting me stop by.
You're welcome.
This is one of our operators. We can operate Hadrian from a tablet or laptop. Just connects wirelessly into the HMI.
Mind if I look over your shoulder? So you got the tablet here, and it's controlling the system through your inputs?
Yeah, and also monitoring everything that's going on. If I can say,
I can't see because of the glare, but that's awesome. Thank you.
The storm is just starting to roll in. The wind is picking up, starting to blow over some of the tent, and it's getting pretty hectic. You can see the leaves are blowing everywhere, and the storm is about to hit. At any point, a CMU team would typically stop working because of the rain, but their adhesive is much more waterproof than a mortar would be. So they're able to keep pushing through a little bit of weather. They do have the thunder in the back now, and this is a gigantic metal structure, so I do think thunder is a showstopper.
We'll film a little bit longer until they give up, but this has really been an incredible print day. I mean, they started this with an empty slab this morning, and they're working on the 6th layer. It's a total of 13 layers, so with good weather, they could be 2/3 done today and have a short shift tomorrow to finish out the rest of the build. It's my first time seeing this technology in person, and it's been really a phenomenal experience. I see so many 3D printers with wet concrete. This system is totally new to me, and seeing the way they load up the pallets of cinder blocks, and then they're able to instantly place them without being touched by human hands from that point, again, is phenomenal. I'm in Hurricane Helen in Florida, and behind me, Fastbrick Robotics is still operating the Hadrian X system. It's got an adhesive instead of a mortar, so they're able to print through this horrible weather. The rain is no problem, but lightning might be. They've got this enormous boom system, and it's really coming down now. They're barely able to hold down the tent over there, and the blocks are still coming out. It's really ridiculous to be operating in these systems, but they're able to do it. It's incredible to see the robustness, the waterproofing, nothing like real world tests, and you're seeing one in front of you.
Might be the what? Wrong.
You won't find any other big media journalists on site today. Just Automate Construction, because any cutting edge construction site, that's where you're going to find me.